Hello, everybody. I thought today, since we're in our affordable makeup month, I would do a full face, and it's pretty much a full face of a very affordable brand that I have actually come to really love, and that is Wet n Wild. So let's get started. I'm gonna go ahead and put my hair back with my little Amazon hair clips. The first thing I'm gonna start with is this Wet n Wild Prime Focus Primer Serum. I tend to have, since I have drier skin, and this is like a little dropper, I'm just gonna put a couple little drops in my hand and put this on my skin. I tend to like either a luminous primer or a hydrating primer. And a primer is not necessarily necessary, but it is nice and it does help your makeup stay a little longer. Next step is going to be my Wet n Wild Dewy Foundation. This is the Photo Focus foundation that I've talked about. So this comes with a little paddle, and I'm just going to kind of put some of this on my face. And then this is the BK Beauty 101 brush to kind of bounce this foundation in. And it says it's a dewy foundation, and it is definitely more dewy than the original Photo Focus foundation, which is more matte, but it's not crazy dewy, and I really do love this foundation. Make sure you get it all the way down on your neck. This shade, by the way, is soft beige, if you're similar to me. I also have one that's a little bit lighter, but right now I'm kind of liking this one that is a little bit darker, but not too much. So I've got that blended in. So again, the foundation. Next, I'm going to use the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Concealer, and this is in the shade Light Neutral. I'm going to use this e.l.f. sponge. I don't have a Wet n Wild sponge to blend this in, and I'm just going to put this here, a little bit under my eyes. Take care of some of those dark circles. I'm not using a corrector, which I usually use, because I did not know if Wet n Wild had one, but I definitely don't have one from Wet n Wild. So this is somewhat light coverage. I'm gonna actually build it just a touch. And it may be because I'm not using a corrector that I'm seeing not as much coverage from this one as I do from other concealers. But it's not drying, which is, to me, the worst thing about a concealer when it dries. Especially when you're older, you just don't want that to look really dry and wrinkled up. So this is not too bad. Next, I have a couple powders to set the face. This one is their Photo Focus Translucent Powder. This is their loose powder. And I'm just gonna use this Sonia Kashuk. You can get this at Target, this brush. I just try to get a little bit in the cap, and I'm gonna kind of swirl that around. I don't want a ton of powder, but I'm gonna lightly powder my face because it is feeling pretty dewy, and it will help to set this makeup. And then it will also help for the powder products that I'm gonna put on later, bronzer, blush, to go on a little bit better. The other thing I'm going to do is, specifically for under my eye, I'm gonna use a little bit of a smaller brush, tap off, and I'm just gonna set that concealer with this translucent powder. And this is a nice powder. I am not using my normal, I didn't find an eye primer. So actually, if you don't have an eye primer, you can use concealer if you have a lot of veins like I do, which I have a lot of veins, and just use your finger, and it just helps to kind of even it out. And a lot of times it will help to smooth out for when you have shadows, and when you put your eyeshadow on, it'll help it last a little longer. but that helps to just even everything out. Okay, so we're powdered, we're set. I'm gonna make sure even my eye up there is set. Now I'm gonna go on to brows. So a couple things that I didn't have. I'm gonna use this Benefit brow conditioner, which I've been using for a while. I don't really know. I'm just using this product up, but I've kind of gotten addicted to it. It's just kind of like a clear gel. And then I bought a Wet n Wild brow pencil, and it's just the typical kind of skinny end and then a spoolie here. So we're gonna go ahead and try that out. I think this was like $1.50. So I always start in the middle and just fill in. This is a little dark, but the nice thing is when you have that spoolie on the end, you can kind of help cover up. So not too bad. Let's try this side. It is soft. It's a little softer than the Benefit that I usually use, the Precisely My Brow, which is my favorite. And so because it's a little softer, that means you have to be a little bit more careful because it's going to dispense more color, more pigment, a little faster. This is my bad brow. Does anybody have a bad brow? I have one good brow, one bad brow. This is a harder one for me. All right, so not bad. A little dark, and like I said, a little bit too much product kind of comes out at once. I don't have a brow setter from them, so I'm just going to use my normal Benefit 24-hour brow setter. Okay, not too bad. All right, so now we're going to do eyes. I've talked with about Wet n Wild Quads, the walking on eggshells. This is actually one of their 10-pan, or actually I think it's, yeah, it is 10-pan. 10-pan, and this is called Nude Awakening. And this is another really nice. It is very hard, I think, to find good drugstore eyeshadows, and Wet n Wild has some of the best, which is just crazy. So I'm going to go into this transition shade at the top with a kind of a big fluffy brush, and I'm just going to go in my crease back and forth, windshield wiper, and I'll get a little bit more, and I'm going to take it down. I'm going to do just a very simple neutral eye. So I'm going to just kind of take this all over the lid. This is a nice transition shade. And I do like the fact that they give you a bigger pan of the transition shade because you're going to use more of that. So it is even more economical the way they do it. Get a little bit more. Again, this is just going to be a real easy base, neutral. I'm going to take a smudger brush and just right into that transition shade on the tip, and I'm just going to drag that underneath my eye. Make sure it connects. Okay, and then we're going to be super simple here. We're just going to take a shader brush, and I think I'll just go into this top shade that's just a shimmer. It's kind of like a champagne shimmer, and I'm just going to pat that on the lid. Just kind of up to the crease. we'll see. I'm gonna get my big fluffy brush, always helps. Go around, make sure that everything is blended in well. Have to have a big fluffy brush. I mean, it's just the key. Then I'm gonna take an eyeliner brush, and I think I'll go into this darkest color down here to just do a really soft line. And as you can see, I'm just gonna press a little bit more right on my lash line. I'm just gently pressing that onto the lash line. And because it's a powder, it's just super soft. So you can see the difference between this eye and this eye. And it's just very soft looking. It doesn't look extreme, which when you get to be over 40, and listen, you do you, whatever you want to do, but I think when you're over 40, you just don't need extremes, but you like it to be a little bit softer and more natural. It's just more flattering, I think, for more people. Okay, so good. The only other thing I'm gonna do is I'll take some of this lightest shade up here, and I'll go ahead and just kind of highlight in my brow bone, just to kind of bring that out. And I think I will use a little of this kind of shimmery light shade to pop in the inner corner. Just like that. So pretty good. I mean, very basic eyes here. We're gonna just make sure we have everything blended in nicely. Very basic, just kind of a neutral eye. So from there, another great Wet n Wild product. This is called their Ultimate Brow Highlighter. And I don't use it for highlighting my brow. This is the greatest. You put this in the waterline. So right in this bottom waterline. And it just brightens up your eyes so much. Great, great product. I think this is the first Wet n Wild product I ever owned. I love it. Okay, next, I'm going to curl my lashes. I don't have a Wet n Wild curler. This is Charlotte Tilbury, but I don't even know if Wet n Wild makes an eyelash curler, but I don't think they do. I don't have a Wet n Wild eyelash primer, and I really do like eyelash primer, so I'm using the L'Oreal Voluminous eyelash primer, which interestingly, of course it's drugstore as well, but interestingly has become my favorite eyelash primer. I used to love the Lancome one. I've used the Marc Jacobs, and I'm really loving this L'Oreal Voluminous. Very good for eyelash primer. Okay, I have never tried, I'm gonna try a Wet n Wild mascara. Never tried it before. This is called their Mega Length Mascara. It's in a pinky purple. It's my kind of wand. It's real skinny, but I know nothing about this mascara, how it builds, anything. I've never even heard anybody talking about it much. And I don't know if it is going to be good for, if it's gonna smudge or flake. I know nothing. I'll keep you updated. I will say it is a little bit of a struggle getting it going. I kind of, especially being a brand new tube, I'm having to do several coats to kind of get it going, but I don't know if it's getting warmed up, or it doesn't seem to be playing as well with the lash primer either. It's kind of sticking there instead of being smoother. It's okay if this is not the winner of the bunch. I love the Essence mascaras, and those are like $5 or $2.50 if you get them buy one, get one. But this so far. Sometimes you have to use mascara for a while, and mascaras do season, but this feels drier. And I don't like a clumpy, wet mascara, but I like it to build a little bit more than this. But it looks pretty nice. You know, we'll see how it goes. Okay, so let's move on past eyes, and we're gonna move to bronzer. So I'm trying kind of a trick here with this Wet n Wild. I love their Photo Focus Press Powder. I actually have it in my shade here. And I kind of thought, wouldn't it be interesting if I just got a darker color, and this doesn't look that much darker, but this is the golden bronze, I believe, of their powder, because I like the formula of it as a bronzer. So that's what we're gonna try today. So I'm just getting, this is a Sephora brush I've had for a long time, and I'm gonna go into this and we'll see if this gives us any bronze or at all. And I didn't do any other contour, so this will be pretty telling to see if this is gonna give us any warmth on our face. I do like how soft and moisturizing this powder is. I did not get like the darkest shade, but I got kind of like a light, it's hard to tell in these lights, but light tan. So this is gonna be kind of a more natural kind of a bronze, just a very slight bronze. It's giving me a little bit, now granted, this is not their bronzer, so I can't really, this is my idea, but I am liking that it's giving me a little bit of color. This is definitely light bronzing, but it's giving me a little something, and it is, it's good. Okay, so for blush, I am using the Wet n Wild Icon Blush in Nudist Society. And you can't really tell these colors in here, maybe back here. It is like a pretty peachy color, very pretty and very natural. This whole look is pretty natural. So I'm just gonna go in. This is a Sonia Kashuk blush brush you can find at Target. This has a little bit of shimmer, but not a lot of shimmer. So I'm actually not gonna use a highlighter with this today because it has some shimmer, but it's doesn't have any glitter. I have been enjoying, I think this blush is nice. I actually have tried this before. So this is gonna be more the focus than the bronzer. But you can see it has a little shine to it. So that's why I'm not using a highlighter. So I'm gonna go back to this translucent powder now and kind of just finish off, and then we'll do lips, and that will be it. So I'm gonna take a little bit of the translucent powder in here, and I'm just gonna kind of buff that in. And that's a pretty natural look, just a nice kind of day-to-day look. Didn't cost me a whole lot of money. I always like to do a setting spray, and then I'm gonna do lips. So I don't have a Wet n Wild setting spray. They do have them, but this is the ColourPop Pretty Fresh, and I love it. And then I have a little handy fan from Amazon that I love to use. It dries that off. It just helps keep your makeup set all day. And it also helps hydrate when you have those powders on your face too. Okay, for lips, I am gonna use my favorite formula from them, which is their Liquid Catsuit formula. And I'm gonna use this one in Peach Stole My Look. And I really like this for summer, for spring. I didn't have a liner from them, so I didn't use a liner. You don't really need a liner with these, but this is a nice little, it's not really a liquid lipstick, and it's not really a gloss. It's kind of in between. They call it the High Shine Mega Last, but it's just a nice little kind of peachy, fun thing. They have all different colors. So that is the look from Wet n Wild. not bad. I mean, just a good little natural look, nothing expensive. Highlights are definitely, I love this foundation. I think it's great. This primer, I'm still kind of trying. I love the blush, the Icon blushes. If you see them in the store, I think they're $2.99. They have about 3 or 4 different colors. Very beautiful, and look very high end. And this translucent powder is very nice. And I love the liquid cat suits. The concealer is okay. And I do love this Nude Awakening. I think this is a great little palette. I think it's $5. I mean, it's a great palette, and it has all kinds of different shades in there. It can be neutral all the way into kind of fall colors. This is a must-have. It's so great for brightening under your eyes. The mascara, I don't know. I don't think it's that great. Brow pencil, I mean, not that great. And then using the powder as a bronzer, it's fine. I don't know if it's dark enough. It didn't give me quite enough bronze, but this is just a very simple, natural look. So I hope this was helpful. I hope that some of these products maybe you learned a little bit about, and let me know what you think, okay?